30,000 players that had access to this game have just had their access entirely revoked. They have lost a game that they have been playing for years, that they paid money to play. How crazy is that? But let's take a moment here and rewind a little bit. How many of you have played Overfall? I know, probably not that many. I went onto Steam, I looked. While the game has been very well received, receiving mostly positive reviews, I have still never played it. I actually had never heard of it until this point. Now, it was brought to my attention just a few hours ago that this was occurring, so I went ahead and Googled it. And wow, I have actually never seen something like this happen before, and I figure it's worth talking about. So Overfall currently costs $15. This is a game that has been online since 2016. Now, as of, I think it is the last 48 hours, players had their entire access to the game, a game that they have been playing for years now, entirely revoked. It was removed completely from their Steam library without any warning whatsoever. Now, I went onto the Steam forums for the Overfall game, and there was a dev post announced stating the CD situation is like this. Years ago, through a publisher, we made a deal to make Overfall known for wider audiences. This publisher wanted approximately 30,000 keys from us, and they said that they were going to pay us after sales. Unfortunately, we got scammed by this publisher, not a site like Fanatical, and we couldn't receive payment. On top of that, we witnessed that these keys were being sold on other fraudulent websites. This is why we had to revoke them without knowing where those keys had been sold. So in essence, we were reached out to by a publisher. This publisher requested 30,000 keys for the game that they could distribute, that they could sell via their own website, and then the developer would receive a cut of those earnings. We're very well aware that you're aggrieved. Take care all. Then they went ahead and they edited this and stated, we're not talking about Fanatical with the whole fraud situation. We're in fact in contact with them to make things easier for you guys. Then they went ahead and they posted a secondary edit. There is a misunderstanding about Fanatical because many of the keys that we sent were used for their bundles and deals. Fanatical was not among the other fraud sites that we mentioned before. We never blamed them, we never will. After getting in contact, instead of making you fill the form, which was an immediate solution patch attempt to those who got their keys revoked, we decided to provide Fanatical all of the keys that got revoked from their bundles, and they will make sure that you'll receive them in the near future. We're genuinely very sorry to have had this happen to you guys and wanted to fix it as soon as possible. Now, this thread has gone on to garner over 500 comments in literally the last couple days. This was posted, I mean, oh, like this, I cannot begin to express how poorly timed this was, because this was actually done on the 1st of April, April 1st. So this is real. This is actually happening. But at the same time, players thought that they were just being pranked, that this was just an April Fool's joke. And and evidently it was not an April Fool's joke, even though it took place on April Fool's. And the developers here could not have timed this any worse. They made a secondary thread. This one was pinned to the top of the forum, titled "Another Update About Revoked Keys." They go on to state, years ago, through a publisher called Flying Interactive, Para Games made a deal to make Overfall known to wider audiences. Flying Interactive wanted 30,000 keys from Para Games and said that they were going to pay after sales. Unfortunately, it did not happen. After getting reports that Overfall are being sold on websites and they managed to censor that, etc., Para Games decided to revoke the keys. I am right now working at Gathering Tree. After Para, 3 of us from the Overfall team moved on and we continue making games. Today, my friend Ali, who is our game designer, has seen that people are posting on the forums about scams. Since we still have Overfall as developers on Steam, we immediately tried to respond and help people who are aggrieved and kind of panicked. They're not knowing what to do about the situation, and that is completely understandable. I'm sure that no one really would know what to do given the situation. This is a terrible situation to be in, and I genuinely feel bad for these developers. No one had any idea about the game being sold where, but the comments and contact form showed us almost all the people writing have bought the game from a Fanatical bundle. I made a call and discussed the issue with 2 great guys from Fanatical, and right now we are waiting on Steam to give us the new keys, so you'll all get your games back automatically. So sorry for this mistake, and yes, it was kind of a terrible April 1st joke. Yeah, It really was, especially considering they all lost their access on April 1st. So I went on over to the Fanatical website. They have an article there regarding Overfall's keys, the sale of the keys, and what they're doing about reimbursing, or at least sending out the keys back to the players that lost those keys. And it looks as though over the next 48 hours, as of today, as of April 3rd, they are going to hopefully have the remaining key. Again, I don't know how many keys were purchased through Fanatical. It could have been tens of thousands or more, but regardless, they are going to have as many of the keys as requested as possible resent back out to players so they can continue playing the game that they purchased. Now, I am shocked that this happened. I have never seen tens of thousands of keys sent out to a publisher who went ahead and distributed these keys and charged an actual rate for those keys and then profited off of 30,000 sales of the game. Just disappear, just vanish altogether and not pay the developer itself. I don't really know what to think about that. They haven't revealed anything more than what I just read, but at the same time, it looks like these developers haven't even been working on the Overfall game. This is a game that they have not worked on in years, and that is perfectly fine. The game was complete, it was finished. They didn't even need to address this, but they still did anyway, so kudos to you guys for going ahead here and making sure players that purchased this game years ago are still capable of playing a game even though you're no longer actively maintaining it. These are developers that have shown that they genuinely care about their game, even though their game probably no longer really makes any sales and is no longer, again, being actively worked on. These are developers that we should strive to support, as opposed to the developers that make garbage games in an attempt to just milk as much money as they possibly can from players. Now, if you have played Overfall, if you lost your access to the game, all you have to do is go about requesting a new key. They will go ahead and resupply you with the key and get you back into the game if you're wanting to get back into the game. This is a terrible thing to have happened. I can't believe that this happened. It just goes to show you that you should be careful who you trust, even as developers, even as publishers, because really insane things like this can happen. Anyway, guys, that is everything I wanted to talk about with regards to this game today, this entire situation. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think about this, if you've ever seen something like this happen before in your entire time spent playing video games, and let's talk about it. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you guys next time.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make it.